Folks who live so not surprising was their thought. Hey, hi! Just fixing something here. Elaine Marolakos Edelson with Astrology Mojo. And I am here. We're going to be, all right. Something fell and I was trying to fix it. We're going to be talking about the solar eclipse in Cancer today and what that could possibly mean for you on the collective, on the whole, and also personally, especially if you have a Cancer sun, rising, or moon, or some pretty big planetary placements like Jupiter or Saturn in Cancer. Okay, so come say hello to me. And if you don't know me, okay, I fixed it. It fell. Hey, Christine, hi. So if you don't know me, you may not know that I say that the planets don't do anything to you, that we live in a cooperation with the cosmos, so that when the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, it is reflected by way of aspects and angles in astrology. And so basically, and I don't have my watch with me, I have an astrological watch, that astrology tells you what time it is. It's neither positive nor is it negative, and it only has meaning when your soul information is imprinted on the chart. So like here, we are looking at a chart that I was going to talk about. This is the chart in general, where the planets are on June 20th. Yes, I have a program where I can go back to the year 0 or forward in time for thousands of years. So I think it's important that when you are thinking about astrology, you realize that the planets, the interplay with planets is just a tool to help you understand what your life means to you and your trajectory, where you want to go. It doesn't mean that what you see in a chart, if this were your chart, doesn't mean that, because you have Mercury in Cancer retrograde, you're always going to be stumbling and struggling for words. No. We look at the placement of things, the aspects and the angles. So if you're not familiar, we can see right here that, let me just go that way. We can see right here that the sun and the moon are opposing the south node up there. That the sun, I still can't get this backwards thing right, that the sun and the moon are squaring, those red squares, Neptune and Mars. And that gives the astrologer a definition, a starting point for, it looks like, not the general, this might happen or that might happen. It looks like you have some issues with communication regarding your true expression. You see, so every aspect and angle creates the idea of an ease or a tension, an opportunity or a challenge in your life. And that's when I like to look at astrology as not that, you're a puppet and it's happening and you have no control, but this is like a blueprint. And you look at your blueprint and you say, I have these talents that I was unaware of. Or I have this opportunity in the 10th house with Jupiter there to expand on via publishing or research or, like that. But again, it's all about the individual soul's karmic imprint on the chart that makes it real and makes it beneficial so that you can get past those roadblocks that you're having trouble with. So with that in mind, I was going to talk about it later, but I actually forgot to turn that off because I was setting up my lighting. I am offering, if you don't know where your stuff is, all your planetary placements, Dean can post a link if he's listening to getting your free astrological birth chart via the link, and you get a free sun sign reading with that. And then consider the astrological life profile that shows you where your personal planetary placements are. And it's only $37. And there's minimum 35 pages of the interplay between the sun, the moon, Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, Uranus, Mars, etc., and the nodes as well. So keep that in mind. Okay, so if you're just joining us, today we're going to be talking about the Cancer Solar Eclipse coming up on June 20th. It will be at 0 degrees, 21 minutes. And during that time, it's going to be combined with, oh my gosh, what isn't happening? Okay, Venus is retrograde. Mercury will be retrograde by then. It goes in. We're in the pre-phase anyway, so consider it done. Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn already retrograde. And the nodes are always in retrograde because they move in the opposite direction. So what is it that you need to go in and discover about yourself? Well, when the solar eclipse in Cancer comes, first of all, let's break it down. A solar eclipse versus a lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse, which we're in the energy of, the Sagittarius lunar eclipse, 14 degrees, 34 minutes. And that's a fire sign. And a lunar eclipse casts a glow. And it's more of a feminine, softer, it can be powerful, depending on if you are a Sag, sun, rising, moon, have certain planetary placements in Sag. But it's a more, let's take a look at this. How are you feeling right now? Why do you feel so out of sorts? Now, aside from what's going on in the world anyway, people are kind of losing it in a lot of ways. You know, I've had it, I'm done, I'm frustrated, I need space, you know. Or they don't know where they're going and they don't know why. And it creates a lot of tension and frustration. And then you have a tendency to, you know, not respond the way you would normally or like to, right? So this solar eclipse has so much more to do with the spotlight being, it's like, imagine a spotlight from the universe just right on top of your life. And you can see very clearly. I can see clearly. Okay, no, I'm not going to sing any more of that song. What is happening in your world? So with a solar eclipse in Cancer, Cancer being a water sign, a defensive sign, protective energy, also a nurturing for home and family. My husband and my sister are both Cancers. When they go into a new city, when they move into a new city or have, well, I don't see my husband moving without me anytime soon, but in the past, what I have noticed is that they'll go into the town or the city or the village or wherever they're going, and that they're going to be in for a period of time, and they drive around, they get to know it, and they make it their own. They make it theirs because they have to feel at home. And then, you know, they welcome the tribe, right? So the Cancer energy is very proactive in a lot of ways. Now, because Cancer energy is also moves sideways, you know, trying to defend itself against harm, it can be reactive. It can be defensive in communication or in action. You know, why would I do that? I'm not going to do that. What was that guy's name on SNL that Martin, what's his name? Not Steve Martin. Martin Short played a character. I forget his name, but like the cigarette stub was like, the ashes were this long. He's like, why would I answer that? Why would I do that? I don't know. It was a very defensive character. I can't think of his name. But that's the energy of the solar eclipse. Now, how does it apply to you? Well, it depends who you are, what you believe, what your placements are. If you have, and because Cancer is a cardinal energy, Sagittarius is immutable. So it's like, oh, squirrel, space, let's go there, let's travel. Cancer is cardinal. It initiates, it takes charge. So if you have planets in Aries, or sun, rising, and moon in Aries, in Libra, in Capricorn, or in Cancer, these are the 4 cardinal signs. You're going to see some huge transitions in your life, whether it deals with wealth, health, passion, or purpose. Nathan Thurm, thank you, Dean, the defensive attorney. Nathan Thurm. My gosh, Martin Short's so funny. Okay, does that make sense? So, looking at it in a linear fashion, the last set of eclipses is when you manifest and you have another set of healing journeys. And eclipses typically happen 6 months apart in tandem, 2 at a time, except this summer, or if you're down under, it's winter, we are having a sandwich. So it's the lunar eclipse, fire sign Sagittarius. Then it's the solar eclipse on June 20th in Cancer. And then on July 4th, Happy Independence, America, it is the Capricorn lunar eclipse. So this sandwich brings up 2 cardinals and a mutable. We need to be moving some energy and initiating change, transformation. And the lunar eclipse, it's like, what's under the surface? It's building the emotions. And it could actually deal with a woman. Lunar. Solar could actually deal with a man. Now, it's already in play. So, as an example, I really value and resonate deeply with a man named Steve Nobel. And Steve Nobel is a facilitator for starseeds on this earth. And he does a lot of meditations. You can find him on YouTube. You can work with him privately or in his webinars. Well, it turns out he is going to have a workshop in Portland, Oregon. So when I saw his new newsletter and I thought, that's where our child lives. 2 for 1. So an opportunity from a masculine individual, could be a very strong, powerful woman, yes, but solar typically represents masculine, as in man. But today with non-binary, gay, bisexual, there's so many versions, right, of what could come your way. And then you look at what's the opportunity? Well, my opportunity is not only to visit our child, but also to spend a weekend with Steve Nobel, because I'm upping my vibe and moving into the 5th dimension. Do we want to sing? You know, I say certain phrases and they trigger songs in my head, but, you know. April of 2021, the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars. Also, July of 2022 or 23, same. Just saying. Opportunities. Future opportunities. All right. So I think it's important to say, oh, hi, Kate is here as well, that when you're ready, and sometimes we say, I was not expecting that. So in your conscious mind, you're thinking, yeah, I wasn't ready for that. But you're always ready for growth, whether you realize it or not, and transformation. You really are. And the eclipses show you what you've been manifesting. So if you don't like what you see in your life, it's time to think about, what are my options? Who could I talk to? And, you know, lunar being a woman, also Venus retrograde could portend a woman dealing with finances, food, healing, the feminine aspect, the whether you're a man or a woman or non-specific, non-binary. So you understand what I'm saying, right? Okay. So what's really fascinating, and I know I've left this up for a long time because I want you to see the interplay. We have Mercury going retrograde this week. And so by June 20th, it's going to be retrograde in Cancer. Already, our thoughts, our energies are going to be moving inward. Venus is already retrograde still in Gemini. So we're thinking about what the plan is. That didn't work. Let's try that one. And as it relates to the women or feminine energy in your life, and you don't have to know them. You could read a book by someone. Colette Baron Reed has and I pulled 4 cards for today. Actually, I didn't pull them. They flipped out of the deck. But here, Goddess Power, right? Colette Baron-Reid. There's a woman, lunar energy. She happens to be a Cancer. And we're going to get some guidance today from the goddess power. You see? So that's the lunar, right? And then we have with Cancer, it is also very emotional. Proactive, yes, but also reactive. So you get to make a choice, right? You get to think about what's going on. And then the sun, solar eclipse in Cancer, 21 minutes actually, 0 degrees, 21 minutes. And on that day, the moon will also be in Cancer. So, and with the square, all the squares to Neptune and Mars in Pisces, there's a lot of water. There's a lot of water. And that water can be elusive. It can be feeling state. It can be tumultuous eruptions. It can be, oh my God, I don't know where I'm going. Or it can be, oh, I just need to have a good cry. Calgon, take me away. And then a bath. So no matter what is happening in your world, the general consensus, according to the chart, is going to be a highly emotional place. Now, what preceded that? Not only do Black lives matter, all lives matter. And I'm not minimizing what's happening. Women's lives matter. You know, the highest death rate on this planet, aside from starvation, Black transgender women. Murdered. 40%. It's atrocious. So when we look at what matters to us, remember, we want to have the embracing of the Cancer energy. Like, come to my house if you don't have someplace to go. Come to my house if you need dinner or you're lonely. And, you know, I'm being safe. I've got a mask. I'm spraying. I'm cleaning everything. Cancer cleans everything. Every Cancer I've ever known, it's like they're vacuuming every 30 minutes. That with a Libra combination, it makes them very fastidious around the house. But it can also deal with real estate, your financial investments. Maybe you're having a tough time paying your mortgage. Maybe you just got reimbursed by the government. Stimulus package, your tax return. So now what do I want to do with that? What's my direction? Between now and the first week of August, unless you absolutely have to, my version of things with all these retrogrades and all these eclipses is research. Take your time. Listen to information. Gather. It is a gathering stage before you make any definitive decisions. Does that make sense? Okay. Because there's so much going on. But also, everything happens appropriately. And I'm going to look at these cards right now to show you. Who's here? Come say hi to me. So I will be back on Monday, and we'll talk more about the eclipses and the retrograde. There was one pop song that had retrograde in it, and I can't even think of who sang it because it came and went so quickly. Okay, so I was, the cards from Colette Baron-Reid's The Goddess Power Oracle cards. And I said, for today, for the Cancer eclipse, for my peeps on Facebook, some direction. And so this is what came. Nurturer, Demeter, well, in Greek you would say Dimitra, which actually means Jamie, or Demetrius would be James, but here's Jamie, Demeter, the nurturer. And the nurturer is taking into consideration, it's a very beautiful card too. The nurturer is taking into consideration that, just like the Cancer energy, that, all right, with healthy boundaries intact, I need to do what I think is best. And nurturing doesn't always mean, come here, I'm going to give you a big bear hug. Sometimes nurturing is saying, if I enable that person, that's not going to help them. So my best form of nurturing might be I'm going to meditate with them in mind and send them love and energy. I'm going to set a healthy boundary. Okay, the Cancer energy, let's not mistake the idea of home family nurturer. It doesn't mean they're holding your hand and crying with you all the time. It means, what do you need? Let me help you get it. Because the Cancer vibe is very proactive on the high vibe, on the high side. What do you need? Let me help you. You're hungry? I'll cook you a meal. I'll run to the store and get you whatever you need. Okay? So nurturing can come from a place of, yes, always compassion. It can come from a place of, let's solve the problem. So let's look in the world to who nurtures you best. And let's not be offended, Lunar Eclipse in Sagittarius, by a woman or a feminine energy or your own feminine side feeling wounded that they didn't, I cried and they didn't cry with me. Well, maybe they're doing other things for you instead. Let's not judge. Do you know, I get a lot of emails for people, just like long-winded, very long, and they're going through their plight, but they don't book a session with me, but they want me to listen. And that's my time, right? So let's respect the boundary. Let's respect the boundary. And then it doesn't mean I don't respond. I may respond in a way that's not what they're expecting. I do a prayer circle every Tuesday with a group of women for the world and certain individuals. And names go on the list, and then it's for the collective. And it's not just a 2-minute, oh yeah, I wish them well. It's deep chanting meditation with crystals, with intention, with the whole idea of unity. To up the vibe. I cannot personally answer everyone's email. I just can't. Right? You understand that. And then at the same time, when I give, I feel like I have done something that would benefit them more than me saying, oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this. What can I do? Well, what can I do? I can give you a session. But you're not asking for one. So what are you asking for? When people are in trauma or there's a victim's voice, and certainly if someone were falling down, I would stop and help stand them up, take them to the hospital or the emergency room or whatever they need to take them home. Right? You understand. You need to understand for your life, your boundaries too. If you have a friend in your life who only ever calls you when there's trauma, you want to consider what that definition of friend is at this point and what you can do to help yourself and them. If you have an employee, an employer, a coworker who takes on, you see them taking on everybody else's responsibility because somebody will say, I got to get my kid to the dentist. Can you just answer these emails for me? And they say, sure, no problem. But then it becomes a habit. And then other people, you're right, you see that. So you might want to step in and intervene and say, do you want to not do that now? Just maybe take care of yourself. Right? You get it. So let me just check in. Hi, Rhonda. Well, hello. Cindy, hello from Cranberry, Pennsylvania. Cranberry, Pennsylvania. Makes me want to have a cran something. Cranberries. Sage, hi. Ooh, what crystals do you prefer when doing group meditations for the benefit of the world? Okay, well, I have two. I don't know. I have what's called a generator crystal. And then I also have this, hang on, because it weighs over 5 pounds. And I'm grunting as I pick it up. Okay, so I'm going to just move this screenshot. Okay, so my favorite place to get crystals, I go to crystal shows and stuff like that, but my favorite place is through Copper Canyon Lapidary. Hey, Dino, He just ran through the room. I am looking for my generator crystal, the big one that sits in the living room next to the couch, if you can hear me. Anyway, so I'll use this to representing holding the entire world as if this were the earth, and seeing all the matrix of all the people. The really big one, not all those little ones, honey. It's the really big one right next to the couch.
Oh, next to the couch. It's not that one.
No. No, it's okay. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. That's Dean, my husband, my producer. So I will look at using a large crystal like this as the earth. I have many, but not this size. Okay, that's one. Oh, I just did my exercise for the day. I also use, it depends on, that's the one. Okay, thank you so much, love. So this is the generator crystal. And it's got, it's hard to see with the lighting, but it's got 6 sides. And the clouds used to be lower. I've been working with this for over 30 years. No, yeah, about 25 years. And so I will put this in the center of the room, or if I'm having a circle, I put this in the center of the group. And we imagine sending vibes into this crystal up through the point and out. I just have to, through the earth, so that we see a grid surround the earth. So I use those 2 specific crystals, and then personally, I have to see what I'm vibing at the moment. Sometimes it's a citrine, sometimes it's a fluorite. This has inclusions. This is from Namibia. This fluorite with pink and green, and all these beautiful pictures in it. And then I also use a kunzite, which grows together with tourmaline, and it's a very high vibe energy. And sometimes I just stick it right here on my chest, and it stays there, so that I'm being supported while I'm sending out ethereal vibes. Also, selenite. So those are just some of the ones. And to stay grounded, I will use nuamite, also called the sorcerer's stone. And under my feet, if I'm sitting in a chair, I put hematite under my feet, bare feet, and that keeps me grounded to the earth. So that's how I work the crystal grid, basically. There's many others that I do. But anyway, so I hope that answers your question. Now, getting back to the thing, when I asked the universe to show what can we use right now to benefit the group, it was Demeter, the nurturer. And remember, setting boundaries can be nurturing. And then the other card that I pulled was, and these are so impactful just looking at them. Now this may not turn up because there's a lot of green in the card and I have green screen. Oh, but there it is. Radical acceptance. Freya. Radical acceptance. Is that, just look at that. Here's a goddess of war. And what she does is scoops up all the people who are injured and brings them to a safe haven. Cancer eclipse. Brings them to a safe place, but with boundaries intact. It is for the purpose of healing. And so, just look at that expression. And to look at your world right now with greater clarity. Not just you and your home, but you as part of the world. And where can you... Now, acceptance does not mean complacency. This is, the decision and the fine line between productivity and reactivity. So where can you be proactive without polarizing into defense or offense? It's not an easy dance sometimes, right? So radical acceptance is about seeing what's happening and not minimizing it. Like, oh yeah, that's happening over there. Or, oh yeah, I have a really good black friend. When I introduce my friends to someone, or I talk about my friends to someone who doesn't know them, I say, oh yeah, I love my friend Annie or my friend Jennifer, but I don't say my yellow friend who is Chinese. I don't say that, right? I acknowledge the person and embody who they are, no matter where they're from or their beliefs. So radical acceptance is being present in the moment and then making that decision. And here it is. And I'm reading this from the book. Freya offers the gift of acceptance, that knowing that there is nothing to resist right now. See your world at face value and look into it with discernment. That's important. When you see with greater clarity, not taking this world so personally, that's the defense of Cancer. You will not have to fight. Do you understand? When you fight, you create a polar opposite energy. We don't fight. In our house, we move energy. That's what we do. If we don't like the way something is, we get clear on it. We may research it. We talk to other people so that we can understand how we feel about it, what we think about it. And then we present our side. Make sense? Okay. So we have nurturer. We have radical acceptance. Then we have, and I've never pulled this card before, and this is a very intense one, and it's Kali. Liberation. It's very intense. And, if you work with goddesses and energies, it's a beautiful card too. It's depicted beautifully. But you'll notice that her eyes are almost like the universe. Let me just get in there. Her eyes, you can see right through to the universe. And she has swords. So you have to be careful because it's like, we're going to cut the crap. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to cut the crap. And when you call on Kali, or Kali who has come for liberation, it is about seeing the things that liberate you, not working so hard to liberate, that group or that person or that thing. But yes, but liberating you. What liberates you? What thought or action or behavior on your part limits you? That's what these eclipses are all about. Because once you understand what limits you, you can say, oh, yeah, I do that. I don't mean to. Or I did it from a place of fear, of scarcity, of greed, but I own it. I'm going to own it. And then I'm going to let it go. Sorry. I'm so sorry. And it's the mutable energies that help you to let it go more easily once you understand that you don't have to sit in judgment over yourself or another. The mutable energies, it was a Gemini rising who taught me once, because I would feel everything so deeply and go, oh my God, I forgot to pick up the thing, and I told them that I would send it, and I feel so bad. And she said to me, it's okay. It's okay that you don't get everything done perfectly right all the time at all. It's okay to just say, oh, I forgot, I'm so sorry, with a smile, like heartfelt. And that lighter version of guilt helped me to relieve the guilt, period. So thank you, Gemini risings. Okay, so we have, and these literally, I was like, and they flew onto the floor. We have nurturer. We have radical acceptance, not complacency, but acceptance of the moment, so that we can be discerning and decide where we want to go next and not defensive. And then we have liberation because of those things. And cutting the cords to the unhealthy, the toxic, the old beliefs that no longer serve you. Okay? And then the last card that came out was Izumi, humor. Lighten up. Let's lighten up. Doesn't it make you want to laugh? Beautiful cards. And so thank you, goddesses. Thank you, Colette Baron Reed. Does this make sense? All right. So I'm just going to take a sip of my magical butterfly pea flower drink. If you don't already have your chart, you can click on the link. I think Dean posted already. Let me move all my stuff aside, my notes. And that, with the free chart, you get a free sun sign reading. But then consider, seriously, for $37, the Astrological Life Profile Report. It is filled with, it depends on who you are, but 35 to 45 pages. And it's got everything. It's got aspects, planets, angles, your definitions, the interaction between the two, the sun, the rising, the moon, and all the houses. And then you get, let me remember, you get bonuses as well. Mercury in retrograde, which we're heading into in just a couple of days. We're in the pre-phase, also called the shadow phase. You get moon void of course information. You get part of fortune, which, let me see if it's in this chart so I can show you. No, it's not in this one. Okay. But it is in the life profile. You get tap your intuition. So there's so many bonuses that come with it, not just where your placements are, where your aspects and angles are, and what they mean for you personally. But you get these extra bonuses. Now, Mercury in retrograde happens several times a year for 6 weeks at a stretch. So you'll get to understand what that looks like. And part of fortune, if you already have a chart, it's the circle with the cross, the X in it. And it literally means the greatest joy you will encounter and what your greatest joy is for your life in your chart and how to access that. So there's I'm going to say the word plethora. There's a plethora of information in your astrological life profile. So consider getting that. And again, Dean posted the link already. So, here's a great question from Rhonda. If you have no water in your natal chart, how does the Cancer Solar Eclipse come into play? Everybody has water in their chart. You may not have a planet in a planetary placement in water, but everyone has a chart. And each chart, let's just use this as an example. Each chart has a house, 12 houses, and each one contains one of the elements: fire, earth, water, and air. So you will have Cancer in your chart. You may not have the moon in Cancer or Saturn in Cancer or Jupiter in Cancer or Mars in Cancer, but your house placement will have it. So the eclipse will highlight the house that has 0 degrees, 21 minutes of Cancer. Like in this house, if this were someone's chart instead of a general chart, this would be the 4th house. And this is where the eclipse would happen for that person. Does that make sense? Hope so. Okay. So I'm going to come back on Monday and we're going to talk more about everything that's going on. We're going to talk about the nuances of the Mercury in retrograde and also this thing that I want you to consider. I'm going to post it right here. That the Cancer Solar Eclipse on June 20th, it's already in play, spotlights nurturing the wound, embracing radical acceptance but not complacency, and redirecting energies toward family, home, life, real estate, finances, writing, women's and or children's issues, but never at the sake of yourself. And remember that the definition of service is to use compassion. And sometimes, you've heard of tough love or you've heard of setting boundaries. It doesn't mean that you have to give 100% of the time to other people. You have to discern, right? Discernment. Freya is asking, discernment to cut the ties to things that would drain you, but yet you want to help. So maybe if someone comes to you and says, every time they have a toothache, they call you and you're like, would you please go to the dentist? I recommended 17 dentists already. And, and they're not taking your advice, right? Something like that. You can say, look, I'm sending you an email and good luck with that. I don't mean it like that. Good luck. I am hoping that you choose these things because complaining about this issue does not serve either one of us. Either take action or please stop coming to me with this complaint. Because I've tried to help you and you're not listening. It's a waste of energy on everyone's part. Does that make sense? I think so. And it's hard sometimes for the empaths of the world to set those boundaries because they feel beholden to the world. It's like we think it's our job to take care of everyone, but the boundary needs to be set. Our kid came to us the other day and they said, Mom, this is not a criticism, but I'm having some issues right now with setting boundaries. And I just knew what they were going to say. And they said, so in counseling, it came up and I had the realization that I was following your example and you were always giving. And then I was always giving, they said. And then I didn't know how to stop. And I said, I totally understand that. Thank you for sharing that. And I know that you're a compassionate person, and I know that you, listening now, whether this is a replay or on Facebook, that you are a compassionate person. That's why you're here. And to set that boundary in a healthy way is when you say no to someone, it doesn't mean I hate you, you're stupid, what are you, crazy, you're so fat, you're so ugly. No means no thank you. Or no, but I wish you well. And so it's important that during these eclipse phases that you honor who you are in a way that's appropriate. Take care of your needs because as a collective, we are all part of the same whole. So in your own body, you have toxins, you have cells that don't belong there, and it's up to the other cells if they are healthy, the immune response cells to go in and, like the garbage cans that they suck them in and then you eliminate them. Well, whatever is unhealthy in this world is also in your body, right? So the world is a huge organism and you want to up your vibe. We're going to talk more about that on Monday. About the dimensional realities, 3D, 4D, and 5D. We're definitely going to get into that on Monday because I will be talking about the Mercury in retrograde and the perception of what service is and how to fulfill your own destiny without feeling like you're giving it up for them or all for yourself and then feeling selfish and guilty. So we're going to get out of that loop because Mercury is going to be in Cancer retrograde. So in Cancer, is the guilt factor. It's like, oh, I should give to them, they're starving. Or I shouldn't eat. I had a friend once who said, I can't use wrapping paper because it's going to pollute the world. But that was a long time ago. And now they use wrapping paper because they have embraced joy as a reality. And that they can go to a recycling site and buy recycling paper that is colorful. Or they found a different way. So when you change your mind, your whole reality is going to change. We're going to talk more about that on Monday. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being. Take it easy. Look both ways 14 times. Don't assume they're going to know what you're thinking. We're in it, people. We are in it. 5 retrogrades, 3 eclipses. What's your reality? Let's go with the flow. Let's burn bright that compassionate self, and I will see you on Monday. Be sparkly. Be who you are. I wish you peace. Thank you.